Grogu? You ever think Steve's gonna go back to doing skip videos? Because I do not get enough screen time around here.
I don't know, man. I'm just a baby.
Speaking of babies, I will give you this one zoo token for that child-looking thing right there. What the fudge is a zoo token? I'll be honest, I don't know. Just kind of something I found on the ground. Oh, well, in that case, sold. Excellent.
You can't be serious right now.
Shut up, baby. This doesn't concern you.
But I think it just concerns me.
That's not made out of chocolate. When did I say it was ever made out of chocolate? Now come, baby. Looks like tonight's baby back ribs.
Baby back what now?
Listen up, Rangers. Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve.
My name's Arnes.
And today in this review, we got the Super7 Poster SpaceGodzilla from Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla. Now, main reason I bought this is probably the most Treadmaster looking thing we have gotten in a long, long time.
It's actually cool.
Like, I know it's supposed to be the poster version, but this thing looks straight, like, this reminds me so much of my childhood. And that's kind of the reason why I wanted to grab it. Because we keep mentioning with the Super7 figures, is I wish they would do more things, because like the Playmate, like their turtle line reminds me of like updated Playmates. I would love them just to do updated Treadmasters.
You know, the thing that bugs me about this most, Steve, is that it's supposed to be the poster version, right? So you get straight out of poster. Where is his crazy mouth?
Oh yeah, with the gnarly teeth and everything. That would have been. I don't expect them to do a new head sculpt, because even like the crest is different on the poster and what have you.
That would have been amazing.
And to be honest, even with the poster colorings, like you can see here, like it's way more exaggerated on this than here. Like it should be like almost dark blue with those colors. Well, again, paint job, very Treadmaster. Like it reminds me even more of the Treadmaster than the poster.
Even though it's not accurate to the poster, I love the paint job on that thing.
And the other thing I love about this is the box is probably one of the coolest boxes we've gotten from a Godzilla figure.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, it's probably going back in the box because of just how much I love this. Like, it's just the straight up poster. And even the way it looks in the box, like you got the crystals on the background, everything's visible. I gotta figure out where the extra head went. No, okay, it's in the box. We're good. Got the purple on the side, on the back. It tells you about the movie. Looks good. Got some legal mumbo jumbo on the bottom. Nobody cares about that though.
Just looking at this box makes me want to watch the movie, honestly.
Yeah, but the way it's presented, it's like you can still see the figure really well. The Heisei poster is like some of the best movie posters ever. So you get that, and then you can put more things on top of it. So you can have like stages on your shelf. So now, while I don't usually condone buying action figures just to leave in the box, but this box is like so sweet that I lean more towards that. And we're just going to get on the review so that we can kind of explain why I would also still probably leave it in the box. All right, so now that we got the SpaceGodzilla open up out of its cardboard prison, first and foremost, it does come with accessories. You do get an extra head, which I think this is the one that was on the figure originally, which is the closed mouth version.
I was going to say, that looks kind of familiar, but...
The only thing I don't like about this one is like how much the crest here bends towards the back.
What's wrong with him pulling his hair back?
Yeah, it looks like he just like slicked back all of his spikes. But the coloring is still pretty nice on it. The teeth could maybe be a little bit cleaner. You'll see the
greaser. Yeah, he's a greaser.
Yeah, where you get a little bit of sloppiness there on the front of the teeth, but the eyes look solid. The coloring's still good. Get the white there for the spikes, and then the multiple shades for the undersection of the neck. And then it comes with a pair of more closed, like / gripping hands. And then a pair of a little bit more dynamic ones where he's kind of reaching out towards you. Paint job solid on those. Currently on the figure, he has clenched fists ready to sock somebody. Ready to give the Mogira the 1-2, if you know what I mean.
Actually, for once, he comes with something that I like. It's a closed fist, like he's ready to fight somebody, box somebody.
Yeah, so one nice thing about the Super 7s is they give you a lot more variety in the way that you pose your figures, which I do appreciate. Also, in terms of size, like these things are freaking gigantic anyways. Like this thing weighs a freaking ton. You do have to attach the tail, which I will say is probably the biggest turnoff for me of this entire figure is this tail. And I tried heating this thing up so much, and this is as far as I can get this to go into the body.
So are you saying you're gonna have to like dig in to the plastic to make some more room in there, because that is really massive gap there?
Yeah, it just sticks out a lot, and I know it should probably go in more, but I've used a heat gun and heated this up to where I feel like I'm gonna melt the plastic, and I can only get it in this far, and then it takes like nothing for this tail to pop back out. And you can feel it like it pops in, like it hooks in, but it's just like,
oh wow, that's kind of.
And it looks like it should go in more, but I couldn't do it. So the tail's just like kind of there. And even then, you'll see like each of these are segmented, but even if that stayed attached, there isn't really much play here.
That's a big turn off.
So while, like I said, it's posable, it's not really posable, and to be honest, for me it's kind of like almost a bit of a slap in the face because it's engineering, which ups the cost, but it would almost be more effective for this just to have been a solid piece.
Yeah.
And call it a day. It would have been cheaper to make, less parts, and God, even a bendy wire would probably be better than the way this thing is. But I appreciate the consistent plastic throughout it, but it's just the way the joints are set up. It's just not really meant to give you that much play out of this thing. Like you get a little bit of a side to side, but for the most part, I feel like Super 7's always like the weakest thing about each of the figures is always the tail. And this is probably so far my biggest offender out of the bunch.
Definitely it. Well, maybe second, because I still have a massive issue with the other thing.
Because the -1's tails weren't great either. But those ones I have more of a problem like of just getting the tails to stay in. Like at least this kind of stays in, but it just doesn't afford, like it's not easy to pop it out. But it's, like I said, it's easy to at least get back in.
I don't know. It kind of makes me feel like it's just like your issue. You know what I mean? Because there's no way they could have made a design that bad and just passed it on. You know what I mean?
I'd say you might be able, yeah. So there might be other ones that get the tail in a little bit better, but like I said, the way the engineering is, there isn't much play here to begin with. And for the most part, outside of what the thermal Godzilla's tail was, it wasn't like very posable. At least it popped in, and then same with the Heisei Godzillas in general. The tails have been like.
I think Shin Godzilla had a bad tail too.
They didn't make a Shin.
Oh no, I'm not talking about Super 7. Just like in general, like Shin Godzilla had a bad tail.
Actually, I think for how big it is, they're fine.
Really?
Yeah, like the monster, it's like how much that thing's abuse has been. It's still like sitting upright.
I mean, this guy would sit upright too. Would never fall down. That's besides that.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, this feels like easily the worst thing about the figure, and actually I'm just gonna pop it off for the sake of this review. Because the other thing that's a little bit of a letdown on this guy is I never owned the previous SpaceGodzilla, and this one, for the articulation, I feel like it's just kind of whatever to begin with too, because it's like for the head is probably the most playable thing where you get a bit of side to side. In their defense, the suit isn't very movable anyways.
That is true.
Because like the shoulder regions aren't really, like it's not really moving the shoulder. So it's like you get a little bit of wiggle with the arms. It's got the
ooh, I found me a hand.
Sweet. It's got the bend there. At least the hands are easy to swap out, so that's a positive thing.
Can I
the hands are on a hinge, but for the waist, just a second. You only get a little bit of side to side. No real forward and back. So it's like you can wiggle it a little bit. The arms, you get a little bit of play. The feet got decent forward and back, and then one of these knees I think I could bend. Okay, I might have to heat these up.
Oh god, I'll break it. Yeah.
They're supposed to bend here.
Have
And
you ever seen
the
that?
feet can go forward and back and a little bit of wiggle side to side.
Have you ever seen that old live action Popeye the Sailor Man movie?
The Robin Williams one?
I think so. You remember his chin, like how it curls up?
Yeah.
Why the Space Godzilla stomach look like his chin? Turn it sideways. Look at that. What is that?
He's got a bit of a lip. Well, he's kind of got that in the movie,
It's not that
but
bad.
it's like connected. While this, they have it separated because of the joint, but the joint didn't really do much.
That's what I mean. That's what I was trying to get to. The joint doesn't actually move.
So for the most part, in terms of posability, he's, I hate to say it, almost a glorified statue. Like you can,
Some of the X pluses have better movement than he does. And that is a statue.
like you get a little bit of play with it. And like I mentioned before, a lot of the articulation kind of translates the same way the suit would have anyways. But for a posable collectible that you're spending quite a bit of money on, like the stomach engineering maybe could have been a little bit better. And
Tail we don't talk about.
the tail is kind of hot garbage, if I'm going to be honest. Not my favorite thing. The other thing, and that's just more of the nature of the character than anything, is you have to worry about the paint job a little bit on this too, especially the spines here, because this is all really flexible plastic, so it's not hard to scuff these things. And even this one out of the package, I got paint missing on it. But it is just airbrushed white paint over top of it.
You're putting your back in the box though, right?
And then same with the spines here. All these look like they're just like one solid color, but I did notice on the tail, there's a little bit of paint missing here and there.
I did see that too when I was messing with it earlier.
On the spines, you can even see on the back one here too. It's missing a little bit of paint in certain sections. And like I said, this is like straight out of the package, and then what you see here messing around with it. It's the only thing I'd done beforehand was trying to shove this thing on as easy as I could. So the paint job, like I mentioned, especially the shoulders and the white areas, you have to be very careful with. But I think its biggest selling point, like I mentioned before, is the coloring and the detail. Like, it looks cool, right?
It really does.
Like, even for how much I think the articulation is just kind of meh, it still will look and stand out very well on your shelf. And the only thing, like, I would say, like, color comparison wise for collectibles is like there's a Mondo ones that are in the same color scheme, and those are so much more expensive than trying to get a hold of this guy. And the box, I think, is much cooler than theirs, anyways. So, detailing, pretty sweet. It's got all the right things. The spiked crystals look good. The skin and the scaling, it's got really nice depth to the detailing, and it doesn't give me like any of that like Playmates kind of feel where it's got like a little bit less detailing in certain sections than others. Overall, like I said, I think the coloring and the paint job on this, it's just like, in terms of being an action figure, kind of whatever. Not the best thing. Even like Super7 wise, it's probably one of the least posable ones out of a lot of them. Like, I would still say like the Destroy is probably, I'd still say like in terms of like engineering and everything going on with it, probably my favorite, which is odd because I don't even own the thing.
It's my favorite one. I don't have it.
I only pretty much like collect the unique ones, which is the reason why I grabbed this one.
This one is definitely unique.
It's like this one, the Dark Horse, and the well, I call it the thermonuclear one.
Is the Mogira out yet?
Yeah, the Mogira's been out.
I gotta buy it.
We never reviewed it though, because we never got it in. Same with this one, or the first version of this, like the movie one, which I'm kind of glad I never grabbed now having this one. But that being said, this one's almost like worth it just because of the paint job. All right, so for some quick comparisons, here we have the poster SpaceGodzilla from Super7, comparing next to some other SpaceGodzillas in my collection with the OG Monster Arts and the 12-inch Treadmaster from my childhood, which, funny enough, they all have the exact same problem, and the thing I hate about SpaceGodzillas the most is this guy hangs on the case and still has a scuff on his crystal. Don't understand. Him, I could kind of understand because he was played with. Him, I got him out of the package, and he already had a little scuffy. So it's just like, fudge these crystals. And here he is compared next to some Super 7s, which my personal favorite, the Heat Ray Godzilla and the Dark Horse. And here is next to the NECA Scorched Alien from Alien Romulus and the Bandai Monster Island SpaceGodzilla. And here it is, right next to the Haya Atomic Godzilla 20. I think you're 2021. There's so many of those darn things. And the Black Series Grogu. Or the child, because he likes children anyways. And then just like the Super 7 Mars Attack Alien and the Spawn collector set with the Todd McFarlane, he's going to end up right back in the packaging because, well, we're going to get into it, but figure we just foreshadow here. All right, so overall for the Super 7 poster SpaceGodzilla, while I love the paint job for this thing, and I think it's one of the coolest looking ones that they put out in a bit. Like I said, like whenever they do the ones that aren't just like movie representations of the characters, I think they knock it out of the park in terms of just the overall uniqueness of the characters. Like the Dark Horse one, the 1200 degree one, this poster version, I think are all really stellar looking in your collection. But my primary problem with this thing is just the articulation on it, and the way some things are assembled on it are just lackluster, to say the least. And for this one, I think it's, oddly enough, I think it's worth a purchase, especially if you like Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla and want to add more things to your collection, and you like the Treadmaster and the poster. But I would highly recommend just leaving this guy in the package. Like, just the way its whole presentation is, I think it's just a big win.
It really is. I like the design of it, honestly. Even though with the little issues we have, like, if I was to buy this, mine would definitely stay in the box. And I think Steve's going to put his back in the box, too. And with that presentation, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, because even if I put it on my shelf, it's just going to kind of be standing there. And I'm not going to really be able to get that much dynamic posing out of it anyways. And then I don't even know if I'm going to be making 3D printed parts for it. Like, I'm sure if somebody wanted crystals, I would maybe go up above and beyond for that. Or you can make the beam for it. But that being said, I could also just do that with the monster arts.
Yeah.
Or what have you. Even just the regular version of this, which I would definitely recommend buying this one over the regular version just because of how unique it is. And because if I'm going to have something that's going to be painting out on the box, I want the more unique looking box set too. So again, it's a weird one. Like, I would still recommend picking this one up, but it's definitely one of those you're buying it for just to kind of look pretty on the shelf. You're not really buying this thing to play with. You're not buying it to pose it. So just leave it in the box.
Definitely leave it in the box.
Because I can also see this one getting expensive over the time just because of how good this one looks in the packaging. But then again, it's also probably going to be one of those ones that I don't think it's going to be hard to find one in a box. Because most of the people that are going to buy this are probably going to do the same thing.
I just found Mogira for $67 brand new in a box. I think I'm going to grab it.
Yeah, it'd be sweet. We haven't reviewed. It's like, I think the only one we haven't reviewed, to be fair. At least a version of it. Because I was kind of hoping they would make one split apart.
That would be neat.
Yeah, it's the only thing I don't really have, like, Heisei-wise, that'd be cool, is having, like, the actual, like, the vehicle separation pieces of Mogira. But anyways, you can help us defeat those kaijus by hitting the like button, subscribe, become a Ranger today. We also got Instagram, Patreon, TikTok, Facebook. Guys, I'll keep up the day what you want to donate. Greatly would appreciate it. If you guys like to pick this up for yourself, link in the description for entertainment or if you can help support the channel. And if you spend me like 10 extra bucks, you get free shipping. Highly recommend them. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.